Yes, I am wearing a Black Panther t-shirt. And yes, we are about to start reading the Penguin Classics Marvel Collection Black Panther. And yes, I'm a fan of Ryan Coogler's Black Panther movies. So yes, I am going to end this video with the Wakanda Forever salute. But before that, there's a lot we need to talk about. Now that we've finished both Module 0 and Module 1 for English 100, it's time to start Module 2. You may have noticed on our syllabus that Module 2, Module 3, and Module 5 are all named for the main text we'll be reading during them. So Module 2 is our Black Panther module. Now, before you pick up this 377-page book, see how thick it is, and start to panic, let me reassure you that for this week, you only need to read 42 pages in it. That's two 20-page comic stories and their respective covers. Specifically, you'll be reading Fantastic Four number 52 and Fantastic Four number 53. Originally published back in 1966 by Marvel Comics, these stories, written by Stan Lee and drawn by Jack Kirby, are the first two appearances of the character of T'Challa, also known as the Black Panther. We'll read more of the Penguin Classics Marvel Collection Black Panther during Module 3, when we will also be reading the graphic memoir March Book 1. At this point, you may be wondering, well, why comics and graphic memoirs? One of the reasons I assign comics to students in freshman composition classes, who are almost always at the starts of their respective college careers, is that comic studies is an academic field with which almost all of them are unfamiliar. And even if you are already a fan of comics who loves them and is familiar with them, I am assuming that you are not yet an expert in the academic field of comic studies. That allows us to work together this summer to develop the critical thinking, researching, reading, and writing skills and strategies you'll need whenever you take a course in a subject that's unfamiliar to you. To learn the established terminology of a new field, the frameworks of analysis, the gaps in knowledge that will allow you to become not only consumers of, but also creators of scholarship. So, the word of the day is comics. And engaging with the contents and the activities for Module 2 is how you start to develop those critical thinking, researching, reading, and writing skills and strategies. So, what should you do first? Even though it's not due until next Thursday, June 27th, I recommend that you first read the prompt for Essay 2. That way, you'll have an understanding of what the contents and the activities in Module 2 are meant to prepare you for. What should you do second? After you read the prompt for Essay 2, you should start working your way through the section of the module labeled Content. Because I am assuming that almost all of you are unfamiliar with comics and/or comic studies, I've created a series of videos and discussions meant to help you understand how to read and write about comic books, such as Fantastic Four number 52 and Fantastic Four number 53. That includes materials meant to help you learn the established terminology of this academic field, as well as frameworks of analysis, such as the ones you'll find in articles like More Than Normal But Believable by Stan Lee, and The Definition of the Superhero by Peter Coogan. What should you do third? After you complete the content section, you should move on to the crafts section of Module 2. This is where I've put together a starter set of lessons that are meant to introduce you, or reintroduce you, to the targeted skills and strategies that I'll be assessing with your second essay for English 100. That includes creating an anecdote from your personal experiences, creating an argumentative thesis and supporting it with evidence, formatting your essays, and compiling a works cited list. And again, don't start to panic. Please remember that this is only your second week in English 100, and I do not expect you to have mastered all those targeted skills and strategies by the end of this second module. When I say assess, I simply mean that I want to better understand where you and your classmates are in your respective processes of developing these skills and strategies. That way, I can make any adjustments to the class necessary to meet the particular learning needs of you and your classmates. That, by the way, is why the schedule at the end of our syllabus so often talks about completing academic tasks announced on Fridays during this summer session class. I've been teaching English 100 online for years, since well before the COVID-19 pandemic, so I have a deep pool of lessons, activities, and assignments prepared. However, I try my best to adjust each class to the actual needs of the actual students enrolled in it. So I'll be editing old lessons, activities, and assignments, as well as writing new ones for you and your classmates based on your performances on your essays. So, that is what we're working toward in Module 2. In terms of due dates, this is the module that establishes the typical pattern or rhythm for our summer session class. Like this one, most modules will officially start on a Friday and end on a Thursday. The first goal within that week is to complete the contents and activities, as well as to write a rough draft of the essay by Sunday. The second goal within that week is to peer review 2 of your classmates' rough drafts by Tuesday. And the third goal within that week is to submit a finished draft of your essay by Thursday. Moving forward, most of the discussions, quizzes, and rough drafts will have official due dates of 11:59 p.m. on Sundays. However, for those of you who are all-nighters by nature, they can be completed before 5:59 a.m. on Mondays. Similarly, the official due dates for almost all peer reviews will be 11:59 p.m. on Tuesdays, but in reality, they can be completed before 5:59 a.m. on Wednesdays. So all those types of assignments you can submit up to 6 hours after their official due dates. The official due dates for almost all finished drafts of your essays will be 11:59 p.m. on Thursdays, but those can be submitted up to 12 hours after their official due dates, typically by 11:59 a.m. on Fridays. This is meant to drastically cut down on the number of panicked late-night emails, often sent at 11:58 p.m. before an 11:59 p.m. deadline, asking for an extension. This way, you don't even need to ask. Yes, you can have an extension. It's built into the assignment. Whew. We had a lot to talk about since this is the module that establishes the typical pattern for our summer session class. Now that we've covered all this, my videos to introduce the remaining modules should be much shorter. For now, remember that you're working your way through the first full module and writing the first full essay of English 100. Mini Essay 1 was only meant to be a couple paragraphs. So don't panic. Just do the best you can now at the start of this summer. By the end of this summer, the best you can do should be even better. With that, at long last, Wakanda forever. Or, if not forever, at least for these next 2 weeks.